to FNaF News. I'm your host, the TNT Muffin, and today we're going to be talking about Funko, Youtooz, Hex, the FNaF 2 movie, and more. Starting off with the Youtooz news for Halloween, they posted this image which shows us some new looks at some figures. First of all, we get to see the Phantom Chica figure, this being the watermelon variant of it, which I believe this is our first time seeing as well as our first time hearing of, so that's pretty interesting. It's not confirmed, but I believe this is not going to be a separate figure and instead will be a chase version of the Phantom Chica figure. We did recently get a chase version of Dreadbear with the glow-in-the-dark version, and I assume this is going to be a watermelon version as the chase for the Phantom Chica figure. We're also getting a watermelon Phantom Chica plush, and I assume that's going to be a chase for the plush as well, but I don't know for sure. Those could be a separate figure and plush. I guess we'll have to wait and find out. Also off in the corner, you can see the Phantom Freddy figure, which we've seen drawings of in the past. I believe this is our first 3D look at it, and I think it looks pretty good from what we can see. You can't see it too well there, so I can't say much about it, but, you know, based on the drawing and from this small look we can see, I think it is going to be a pretty cool figure. Along with those, there's also going to be a Fusion Z Gamer plush releasing in the next day or two, which is going to be available for, I believe, only 7 days, and this is what it looks like. I don't know if you necessarily count this as FNaF merch, but it's basically just Foxy, so I would say it's FNaF merch. Foxy plushie, I think it looks pretty cool, him coming out of the box there. And for you Chuck E. Cheese fans out there, along with this plush, we're also going to be getting this Chuck E. Cheese plush, which is the Rockstar Chucky. Once again, this is going to be available for only 7 days, so if you want it, you've got to get it quick. I think this actually looks pretty good. When we got the Pizza Time Theater version of Chuck, I assumed they were going to do just a full wave of Pizza Time Theater merch. It seems instead they're doing different versions of Chucky, so I wouldn't be surprised if they did a third one with Avenger Chuck, but it could just be these two, the old one and the modern one. I guess we'll have to wait and see. Continuing on with plush news, we have some news on Hex, which is that the Security Breach wave has just released. This includes the 4 plushies of Glamrock Freddy, Montgomery Gator, Glamrock Chica, and Roxanne Wolf, as well as some clothing, so if you're interested in that, I'll put a link in the description if you want to pick it up now. Some other merch news is that Scarlet Joker on Twitter has revealed to us that we're going to be getting 4 more FNaF pop figures for the 10th anniversary line, being Freddy Fazbear, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy the Pirate. We don't know exactly what these are going to be. They could be remakes of the FNaF 1 characters, they could be new variants, they could be FNaF movie figures, or something else. We really have no idea. I would guess FNaF movie? Well, I don't know. This is the 10th anniversary line. I don't know if they would do FNaF movie figures for that. I'm really curious to see what it is. But they have been killing it with pop figures recently, so I assume it's going to be something cool, even if it is just updated designs of the characters. I think that could be pretty sweet. Very excited to see what happens. Also, some people have been finding jumbo versions of the Elf Bonnie plush. We recently got released the Jumbo Gingerbread Foxy plush, and then we got the Jumbo Glitch Trap plush, and now out of nowhere, once again, a new jumbo plush. I don't know what's up with all these jumbo plushies releasing out of nowhere, but here's another one. Still waiting on a jumbo Dreadbear. One day, one day. And now the FNaF 2 movie news. First off is that recently the FNaF 1 movie re-released in theaters on October 30th for Blumfest, and before the movie played, they had a little thing where Emma Tammy and Jason Blum talked about the original. They said thank you to the fans and all that good stuff, but most importantly is we got a new look at the logo for the FNaF 2 movie. So far, I think this is the coolest and most interesting FNaF 2 movie logo. Like, we've gotten small things in the past, like just Five Nights at Freddy's 2 in the FNaF movie font. We've gotten this now. We still haven't gotten one that's like the big sign at the front of the restaurant, but I assume we'll get that later on, hopefully not too long from now. Now, before we move on to the next piece of FNaF 2 news, I do want to say, spoiler warning, this is something you might not want to hear. It's just like a casting call, which reveals what a scene might be. So if you don't want to hear that, skip to this time in the video. Next up, we've got, I believe, a leaked scene for the FNaF 2 movie, which is that Caballero Casting put out a casting call for children ages 10 to 14 to work as students. As you can see, it says it's casting for Music Box. That is the, like, set name or whatever for the FNaF 2 movie, like how the original was Bad Cupcake. This one is Music Box, so this is casting for the FNaF 2 movie. And as I said there, they're looking for kids to be students, which means there's gonna be students in the movie. And what this means is that there's probably a scene in the FNaF 2 movie that takes place at a school, which is not something I was expecting. There are a few possibilities as to what this could mean. Either it's gonna be Vanessa at school, which we know there will be a young Vanessa in the movie.
I actually don't know what I was talking about here. I don't think we have any confirmation on young Vanessa returning. I think I just got that confused with like a casting call from the original movie, but it's still a possibility.
So I think that definitely could be a possibility. I don't know exactly what she'd be doing in school. Maybe like she recently saw one of the missing children get murdered and she's in class and can't focus because she has trauma. Or maybe it's not Vanessa and it is some random kid who turns out to get kidnapped by William Afton. I could see that happening as well. We do know, at least in the context of the movie, he doesn't just kill kids in the pizzeria, he does just straight up kidnap them out of nowhere, like Garrett. There's in the middle of the woods and he stole this kid. So I wouldn't be surprised if he stole a kid from a school. Maybe there's a scene where Garrett or Mike as a kid is at school thinking about FNaF related things. Or it could just be Abby at school. We've had scenes like that in the past, so I wouldn't be surprised if we got another one of just Abby at school. So not 100% sure what this is gonna be, but now we know that there will be a scene at a school in the movie. I do also want to point out here that it says dates November 25th, 26th, and 27th. I don't know how long scenes usually take to shoot, but I feel like a scene like this wouldn't normally take 3 days to film. Like the ones with Abby at school before, I feel like you could definitely do that in a day. So with it being 3 days here, that kind of makes me think it might be something somewhat significant, but really hard to say. They could also have scenes throughout the movie with a kid at school. Really no idea, but that's an interesting detail there as well. So yeah, that's 2 potential scenes we now know about this movie. If you haven't seen my last news video talking about the other scene, you can go check out that video. And also, we've got a little thing here where Matthew Lillard was interviewed, and he said that this movie is more action-packed than the last one. It's gonna be tonally different, and that he thinks the fans are gonna love it. Definitely a movie made for the fans.
Can you give us any kind of insight?
I always come back is my last line of the movie, so I'm coming back, so that's good. Yeah, I think that, look, here's the great news, is that I think the fans fell in love with what we did. I think that Scott is the shepherd of this incredible project. And I think that collectively the filmmakers listened to some of the criticism that they got. Yeah. And I think they're growing as filmmakers, and I think this film is going to be tonally a little different. I think we're going to have a lot more things that the fans wanted to see the first movie. Look, I think there's going to be I think it's going to be an action-packed film. I think it's going to be very exciting, and I think fans, again, I think this is fan-centric, and I think they're going to love it.
Nothing too specific here, of course. He can't give any big details on the movie, but, you know, I'm excited to hear that it's going to be tonally a bit different and more action-packed. Because the original movie, I do feel like the tone could have been a bit more scary. Could have been a lot more horror-based. And they have said multiple times with this as well that this movie will be different. It will be more horror-based. So I cannot wait to see this. I'm very excited. But yeah, that is all the news we have today. So if you want to subscribe, you can click the button on top of my head. If you want to watch my last news video, you can click that button over there. And if you want to see some other video I made, you can click that button over there. And I'll see you when we get some more news on the 5